developed by follower of Mahatma Gandhi. His name was Vinoba Bhave. So Vinoba Bhave said, I don't want to anymore shout slogans like Jai India, Jai Pakistan, victory of Pakistan, victory of India, victory of Nepal. He said, victory of the world. Everybody should win. Why should some people be defeated and others are winning? So this concept of everybody should win and there should not be anyone defeated was something introduced by Vinoba Bhave. And when we greet people, we say Jai Jagat, right? So a big Jai Jagat to all of you. Now this part today is a bit of fun part. We have a film, we have some music, we have some theatre, but a lot more serious discussions are going to take place from tomorrow morning onwards. So we will begin tomorrow morning. To begin with, I want to say that, see, look, we live in a world where a lot of wealth is being created. That's an interesting thing. Right? We are living in a world where a lot of wealth is being created. Never before technology and capital came together so well. Right? The technology and capital together, exploiting the resources to create wealth. Right? But why is the problem in this? I mean, this is what people are asking us. Why are you so concerned about? Why are you so angry about it? Technology and capital coming together to create wealth is a good thing. The resources are there, and the resources are to be exploited to create wealth, more wealth. So we have a problem. We have two problems according to me. One, this wealth is being created at the cost of nature, culture, and people. This is not just, wealth is not just created like that from the sky. This is being created at the cost of people, at the cost of culture, at the cost of resources, nature. So much destruction of nature, destruction of culture, and migration of people. It's a disaster. In the process of creating so much wealth, why should we create so much disaster? That is one major concern we have. The other concern is that all that wealth that is being created is not plowed back into the society. The wealth is being parked somewhere else, in some other country, in some other place. Though the assumption is that so much wealth is being created in order to look after the people of the country, the wealth is not traveling back to the people. So on one hand we are destroying everything, on the other hand we are not giving anything back to the society. So I think these are two major areas that is becoming a big concern. But then how do we argue this with people who are in the run for creating wealth? They feel creating wealth is a very important work, and anybody who is opposing to this process are anti-national or anti-development. The second thing that I want to flag now is that people like us who are sitting around here in this room, we had a dream. When we became social workers, the idea was that we will be able to create a village community that is self-sufficient. In Hindi we say Swavalambi Samaj. That is a self-sufficient community. Using the natural resources, we will be able to create self-sufficient communities, self-sufficient, self-governed communities. And this is not going to happen. If this is the kind of development model that we are going to pursue, this model of self-sufficient, self-governed community system is not going to come true. So in this process, I think people have lost their resources and also dignity. Right? They not only lost resources but also lost dignity. So that is another major concern about which we will have to spend some time. The other issue that we are debating now is about the role of state. Right? We all thought, as young people initially we thought, a state is created, this the government or state is created in order to help people to have access to resources and opportunities. I mean, a just society cannot be created unless you facilitate a process of access to resources and opportunities. Right? But now what is happening is that the entire resources, the available resources of the planet is given out to some people and others are left high and dry. They really don't know what to do. And that is basically where we have a problem with this development model, right? Can we allow a development model of this kind to continue where everything is getting centralized? The decision-making power is getting centralized. The economy is getting centralized, while people like us keep on speaking about decentralization of power and resources. Because we say that if resources and opportunities are to be given to everyone, the computer should be given to the one who is working on the computer, but the land should be given to the person who is stealing. Now what is happening is the computer and land, everything is with one family or one group of people. All businesses, all opportunities are in the same hands. So I think the development model needs to be challenged. That is why I think this kind of a coming together is very important, because the Western world is trying to tell us again and again that this development model is not sustainable. In places where I travel across the globe, in the Western society, they are telling us, look, this model is not sustainable. See, after all this run, if ultimate result is insecurity and fear, everybody is feeling insecure. Everybody has fear about future. If that is the end result of this development model, why should one run for it? Ultimately, if you are only creating fear and insecurity in the minds of people, why do you run for this model? Why can't we think about a different model? And that is where we need to get back to Gandhi. He was asked about how do we go about in terms of production. If you are opposed to big companies and big factories, what are you proposing? And he said something very interesting. He said, look, what can be made by hand should be made by hand. What can be made in a village should be made in a village. What can be made in a small industry should be made in a small industry. And he said, what cannot be made by hand, what cannot be made in a village, what cannot be made in a small industry should be made in a big industry. So it was very interesting to know that there are so many avenues where people can work with hand, people can do it in the village, people can do it in small industries. We have destroyed all that in the last 30, 40 years, not only in India, across the globe. Go to Africa, go to Latin America, go to... Yesterday, a young friend in Jharkhand is about 1,500 kilometers from here. He said, look, he did a survey and he found out that all shoemakers are gone, because he said 1 billion people in India, and these people could have made 1 billion shoes. No? It's like 1 billion shoes. I mean, it takes a lot of energy and time for people to make it, so that's gone. And he was then speaking about various other industries that used to be there in the village, and now you don't see them anymore. The carpenter, the blacksmith, the shoemaker, everyone, one after the other, everybody is gone. So if the West is telling us, look, forget about our model, you need to think of your own model. Why are we in Asia? Why are we in Africa? Why are we in Latin America? Failing to look at our own model. Why is this compulsion for us to follow or imitate a model which is failing? I think we need to look at that. But I'm not suggesting that we are going to look at all this in the coming days in this workshop. But that can be the larger framework. But then one thing we need to look at, definitely look at, is that how do we reclaim the lost land and livelihood resources of millions of people across the globe, including European countries or including the First Nation people in America and Canada or in Australia? How do we reclaim this lost ground? Millions of people, because they are losing their land and livelihood resources, are forced to go to cities and slums and ultimately to take to violence. So we have created a situation where people cannot be happy in the village, cannot be happy in the cities. Cities are no more livable, villages are no more livable. Villages because of poverty and problems, cities because of overcrowding. So I think idea of reclaiming the lost land and livelihood resources, resisting this process of taking away, grabbing the land and resources of the people. This is one agenda around which we need to work for the next 4 days, while keeping the larger frame in mind, that how do we tackle it. Social workers are not too many, and like Swamiji rightly put it, social workers are getting cornered every day. In India, of course, I know it may not be different in other parts of the world. Social workers are seen more like a problem rather than a possibility or a solution. I mean, how do you put down the voices of social